Well, hi, everybody. It's another Conversations with, and I'm Dick Vaughn. And with me today is Lina D'Annunzio. And I came across Lina online, and Lina is intriguing because Lina is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cook. And she has a catering business. She likes to do small parties and small groups that are having a get-together, and she'll tell us about one she's working on as it happens as we speak. So, Lina, it's great to have you with us.
Great to talk to you.
And it's great. I came across her, as I said, online, and I said, I got to have her on because, as I told her when I first started, very many years ago when I was a young boy, I had my first girlfriend, and her mother, and they were Italian, and her mom and dad were from Italy. And I used to go every Sunday for dinner. And Mrs. Cardarelli would grab my little cheek and she'd say, Dicky, I'm going to make you nice and fat. And I don't think she made it, but that's okay. So I grew up loving Italian food. And I know Lina has been here. How long have you been in Charlton? You came from Marlborough, right?
I came from Marlborough. I've been in Charlton 15 years.
Okay.
My husband, we bought the land where I live,
Yeah.
and my husband, being a civil engineer,
Yeah.
he built that house.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But some of the interesting things that you do now, you've got a party coming up in the next couple of days. Tell us a little bit about that. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, actually. Yeah, this is a lady that she is hosting a wedding party.
Yeah.
You know, before the wedding, you go to dinner. And she lives in Ashland. She has a condo.
Yeah.
And so she contacted me saying that I guess she was at one time, she came to my house because she knows my daughter.
Yeah.
And she has had my food.
Yeah.
So she didn't even have to ask me how I cooked.
Yeah,
She knew. She went directly to the menu and she said, I have 10 adults and 4 children. Can you cook for us? And I was like, sure. Now that number is up to 17.
Okay.
But she asked me, what can we do?
Yeah.
And I suggest some food. And then she said, yeah, I like this, I like that. So, we agreed on the price, and I'm cooking for her.
Oh, good.
So, do you want to know what I'm making?
Yeah, I do. I can't wait.
She decided on, first of all, an appetizer. So she decided on insalata caprese.
Yeah.
The mozzarella and the tomatoes with
Yeah.
balsamic. Then she wanted a chicken marsala and with the pasta with porcini mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then broccoli ravi. You must have probably come across with broccoli ravi. That's the Italian broccoli.
Yeah.
Which I'm making sautéed. Eggplant parmigiana.
Yeah.
I'm making that, and then a tiramisu. So that's the whole
meal.
menu.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that today,
Yeah.
and I started yesterday, but I'm going to work mostly this afternoon and then tomorrow morning because the dinner is at 6.
Well, one time in my life, I used to be involved in politics in Massachusetts, and I was in Boston every Tuesday and Thursday, and I was a consultant to the Registry of Motor Vehicles, Registrar Mackey, and every Tuesday, I'd be there for the whole day, and every Tuesday at noon, we'd go over to the North End, and he had this friend of his, and she actually had a little restaurant. It was her house, and in her living room, she had 7 or 8 tables, and we would go every Tuesday. And we call up first and tell them what we wanted. And she used to make the most delicious chicken cacciatore, and she'd make it just for me, And I used to I couldn't wait to go over there. So and I grew up in Malden as a kid, and 1/3 of the city was Italian, and so and they had some great. I mean, it was one place called Tricker's, Tricca, the Tricca family, and there was, from the old country, the mom and the grandmother and the grandfather
Right.
was all their recipes, and so when you went there, it was like going to their house, and they have this great restaurant, but all
Exactly.
those recipes came from Italy, and
Well, so are my recipes.
Yeah.
They're all from my mom,
Yeah.
from my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Because when I came here, I couldn't speak any English, so I lived with my in-laws.
yeah,
And so I'm from Naples, so I brought all my Napolitan recipes. My husband is from near Abruzzi, and so I learned all their recipes.
yeah.
While I
Well,
was,
that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize that in Italy, each section,
each
region
they
has
have
their own
recipes.
recipes, and
And
they're,
that's
and
not
they're
just
different.
for cooking. That's for the cheese. They making their own
That's
cheese.
right.
They making their own salami.
Yeah.
Their own wine. So
Yeah.
everything is different, region
different
by region.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you know. We own the restaurant too.
oh, you did.
Yeah, in the 80s in Marlborough.
Yeah,
Because we owned a lot of property there.
Yeah.
So in those days, when we had it was a kind of a recession and the
Yeah.
economy was bad, and we owned a storefront on in this
Yeah.
Marlborough area, and so people they were moving,
Yeah.
and we couldn't re-rent the places.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to be opening a restaurant, and my husband always said no.
yeah.
It's too much work, you
Yeah.
have
Oh,
the
it is.
kids,
It's-
this and
it's-
that.
It's a tough job.
But that time, because we couldn't re-rent the stores,
Yeah.
we decided to open the restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was very successful. We had a lot of politicians come into
Oh,
our
yeah.
place. Oh, yeah.
Well, then, great friends of mine were from Marlboro, the Roes, Judge Roe, and they were lawyers, all the Roe family. They were all from Marlboro. And I knew that Judge Roe was a great friend of mine, Ned Roe. And so I know a little bit about Marlboro.
I know Barbara Rowe.
Barbara Roe is an attorney.
She's an attorney, yeah.
She's a great friend of mine. I used
She's
her.
a great friend of mine, too.
Yeah, I had her in a case. She represented me at one time in my life.
Yeah.
When I had a situation, I called the judge, and he said, "Get Barbara. She's great."
She
So-
is, and she's so funny, too.
Oh, she's a great lady. Yeah.
So when we had the restaurant, I had Salucci.
Yeah.
Salucci was
Oh, yeah.
my
The governor.
customer.
Yeah.
He used to
Yeah.
come every other week.
Yeah.
He enjoyed my food.
Yeah.
We had one time we had a party for Weld because
Yeah.
Salucci brought
governor,
Weld
yeah, yeah.
with all the cabinet,
Yeah.
and there was no security, nothing. It was a hush hush
Yeah.
type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then another time we had a party for Kennedy,
Yeah.
Joe Kennedy.
Yeah.
And the senator, they were
Yeah,
all
there.
the politicians.
Yeah, they used
were
to
there.
come, yeah.
They loved my food.
Yeah.
And mind you, my husband wanted to get involved, in the restaurant
Yeah.
business, but he didn't know how to cook at all.
No.
And because he was an engineer.
Yeah.
And so I taught him everything. So by a few years after we opened, he learned how to cook, how to make the sauces, how
Yeah.
to make the chicken, the
Yeah,
parmesan,
yeah.
everything. And so, we did it together, and the kids
Yeah.
also, they
Yeah.
helped out.
What I always got a kick out of when I would ever talk to Mrs. Cardarelli, or I had a great friend in Philadelphia, and he married a lovely Italian girl, and her name was Rosa. And I would, every time I go down to visit them, she'd make a big spread for me. And I'd say, "You got to tell me what you do." She says, "Dick, I put a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a pinch of this, a little bit. Oh, you got to write that down, And she said, "I do it from here. I don't."
That's true. And,
Yeah.
I teach at
Yeah.
BPAT, and
Yeah.
all the time they ask me for recipes.
Yeah.
But, I try to do it as best as I can, but, while I'm cooking, something changes,
Yeah.
because maybe at that moment I
Yeah.
think, okay, maybe, I get more
Yeah.
of this and less of that. So I decided not to give recipes anymore,
Yeah.
and they are mad at me. But they love the food.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
they come and they enjoy, and sometimes they make me sing because I
Yeah.
used to sing when I had the restaurant.
Yeah.
was something that my husband loved me to do.
Yeah.
We had on weekends, we had this guy who played accordion,
Yeah.
and he had all the equipment,
Yeah.
And so sometimes I would sing alone, sometimes I would sing with him, and sometimes he would sing alone.
Yeah.
But it was a lovely, time.
Oh, yeah.
My husband even built a stage for me
good.
to go on.
Well, that's great.
So yeah, we kept it for a long time,
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
And but it was a lot of work, and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of work. Because at the same time, while I was doing that, minding the restaurant, I was also working at the bank part time,
Yeah.
and I was doing interpreting because I speak 4 languages. So sometimes he was stuck in the restaurant,
Oh, yeah.
for
Well,
long.
one time in my life, I got involved in a situation where my father-in-law and I, he wanted to get a restaurant. They had a car dealership in Boston. And Charlie Doe was a good friend of my father-in-law's. And he owned the 99 restaurants. And he had 3 restaurants in Boston, downtown Boston. And the original restaurant was on 99 Devonshire Street. That's where the 99 comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And he got sick of Boston. He wanted to go to the suburbs and get out of the city. So we bought the 99s on Devonshire Street in Boston. We ran it for 5 years. It was 5 floors. And it was the original 99. And it was fun, but it's just, you have no time to yourself. It's just constant, taking care of it. And
Yeah,
and
you are
we
married
yeah.
to
And
the
we were open
business.
6 days,
Yeah.
and we used to do 1,800, 1,800 lunches and dinners, and we had 5 floors, and all my kids were in there. They were chefs on the different floors, and but it just consumed you, And I was running radio stations, so I'd go down 1 day a week to go, to help at the restaurant. And finally, I mean, the good news is we bought it for $300,000 and we sold it for $1.2 million. So but 5 years later, it ended up killing my father. He had a heart attack and died.
Oh,
That's why we
see.
sold it, because he was just in there. It was 60,
All the
70
time,
hours a
yeah.
week, and then with all the regulations and it just,
Yeah.
it just was, and you had to be so careful because, in those days it was a lot of cash. Now there's a lot of credit cards.
Yeah.
But we'd have situations where some of the waitresses were, the bartenders were grabbing dough, and we had a situation where we could tell, if there was a difference. Because, after a while, every Thursday we did $1,800 at the bar. All of a sudden, one Thursday, we do $900.
Oh,
Oh, something's up,
something's up.
So we caught a couple of kids, take it, and it just got to a point where you just said, it's not worth it. You just,
Besides the money, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of. I used to remember sometimes my friends and family would come to the restaurant to eat, and I would be so envious of them because they were leaving after dinner, and I was still there.
Yeah.
Still working, preparing for next day, making everything ready. So, yeah, I mean, when you're in it, you obviously have to do what you have to do. But, a lot of small family restaurants, they don't really last that long.
No.
The chains, they do.
Yeah, but it is. And I think people don't realize the toll it takes on even a family.
Yes.
Because it's constant. You never. I mean, I remember just ordering, just making sure you had enough beer and enough wine. It was unbelievable the time it took. Just to make sure. And we did a lot. It was in those early days, they did a lot of steaks, and just making sure, just ordering the right amount of steaks so you didn't have spoilage,
Right.
and then every Friday, back in those days, was a big fish day, so you'd have to on Thursday order the fresh fish. You didn't want to get too much because what are you going to do with it if you didn't sell it, and then you don't want to waste it, and it was just trying to balance it so you didn't have
Right.
enough, and it was just, and it was right in downtown Boston. So we had a big lunch business because of all the offices, and then we took one floor, and I was involved with a lot of the Red Sox and the Bruins players. So we took the second floor and made it like a sports thing, and we would have different players come over, and they'd be sitting at the bar, people, oh, I saw Bobby Orr, and so we really built it up, but then it became almost unmanageable. It was just the demands were unbelievable, and when Jack got sick, I said to it, we're going to sell it. Oh, no, we can't sell it. Yeah, we got to sell it. I said, I can't run it alone. I got the radio stations. I got 5 kids. I can't do it.
Right.
And I said, look, it's killed him. He's in the hospital dying, and I said, we'll sell it. And we were able to sell it and walk away, and that was the good news. But it was a tough it's a tough business.
Tough business, yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realize.
We were able to sell it too. We didn't advertise it to sell it. It was the guy down the street.
Yeah.
It was a liquor store.
Yeah.
Who knew about
Yeah.
us having intention of selling it.
yeah.
He was the one who sold it for us.
Yeah.
He just happened to meet somebody that went in the liquor store looking
Yeah.
to get a beer and wine license.
Yeah.
And we had that, and
Yeah.
he would buy the restaurant along with that. So he sent it to us, and
Yeah.
we sold it right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is a tough business.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're in there, you meet so many people. I met so many
Oh, yeah.
wonderful
Oh, you do.
patrons, But then, at the end of the day, you still, you're there, and you gotta you can start all over again.
Yeah.
You have to cook, you have to prepare, and then,
Yeah.
I remember you used to go home at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, in the morning again,
Get it back
just
up, and then
go
you
back
yeah.
there.
You have to start
Yeah.
preparing for the day. Yeah.
Exactly.
It just never ends.
No, never ends.
So you sold the restaurant, and then you came to Charlton.
Well, I was still in Marlborough after we
Yeah.
sold the restaurant for a while, and because before Marlborough, when we opened the restaurant, we lived in Sudbury.
Yeah.
Then we moved to Marlborough, take care of the restaurant, and then I was still working,
Yeah.
as a customer service in a bank,
Yeah.
local bank. So I worked there, and then my son, I have a son who lives in Charlton. He used to live next door to us in Marlborough.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Charlton because his daughters, they start school.
Yeah.
And Charlton, I know, has
Yeah,
a
good
very
schools,
good
yeah, schools, yeah.
system. And so he moved here, and he starts saying, Mom, Dad, why don't you move? The girls they
Yeah.
miss you. He's got twin girls. And so we didn't want to move again, But he kept on saying that. So a friend of mine who's also Charlton resident happened to find out that I was thinking of moving here, and she found the land for us.
Oh,
and
yeah. Charlton's got plenty of land.
It's got plenty of land. And so,
I'm on the Board of Assessors.
Yeah.
So I see all the, and we're growing. We're still growing.
I know.
In fact, one of the challenges is we still have a lot of people who think we're a small town, but we're really not. We're really growing.
I think Charlton is the second for
Fastest growing, yeah.
No, the second town.
Largest.
Largest town because
we
of
have
the
40,
land. Yeah.
We have 45 square miles.
Yeah.
And we have, in fact, I tell people all the time, we have the 3 L's. We have a great location. We're on Route 20 between exit 9 and 10.
Yeah.
We have plenty of land, and we have low taxes. So we're a great place to come to. So, but I want to talk about a good friend of mine and yours, and that's our good friend Father Bob
Yes.
from St. Joseph. And I found out today for the first time that Father Bob comes to your house for Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, and he's a great pal of mine, and he's a terrific guy, and so he goes up for Christmas Eve.
Yes, he does, and he enjoys our company. He knows all my kids,
Yeah,
although
yeah.
they don't live all in Charlton.
Yeah,
He knows my grandkids.
yeah,
and he enjoys the food.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can see it when he eats. He's so happy.
Now, did he ever bring Father Donato up? He's another Italian.
He's another Italian. Unfortunately, no. We didn't have a chance because
No.
Father Nado was moved.
Yeah, he's gone already. Yeah.
No, he is. I don't remember if he brought another priest in the past, but now I don't remember his
No.
name. But no, he's been coming almost every year.
Well, that's good.
Every year, Christmas
That's
Eve.
good. Well, we have a new priest, Father Charles.
Charles,
By the way, who loves to cook.
He does.
That's his favorite thing. He's always. I was with him last night, or Monday night. I was with him, and he was telling me that he loves to cook, and he cooks for Father Bob. So he was all excited. So he really enjoys cooking, and but it's different. Of course, he's from Kenya.
He's from Kenya.
Yeah, and it's a whole different
Yeah,
style.
different style.
But
different
I know
food.
he and Father Bob are they get along great, and you'll have to have Father Charles up.
I met him
Yeah.
through communion
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know when I go, but he's a nice
He's
priest.
got a
I
great
like him.
personality, and he's a funny guy.
He is.
And he loves coming here. He loves Charlton. I told you I was with him Monday night, and we were chatting briefly, and he was telling me I said, "You've really fit in." He said, "Oh, I love it here." He says, "People are great, you know," and
Yeah.
and he's got a great personality, you know, and he really enjoys being here. So you do catering too, and you talked
catering,
about the
yes.
little party you're having, and so if people need to get a hold of you, we got to tell them how to get a hold of you, because you can
And
do.
I have I have a Facebook page.
Yeah,
My phone number is right there.
yeah,
And there's a lot of the dishes that I
Yeah.
have, that I make and
Yeah.
I've made pictures,
Yeah.
right there. But they can call me on my phone, on my cell
Yeah, yeah.
phone, if they like
Yeah.
to, me to cook something for
yeah.
them, and I'll be glad to,
Yeah. Do that.
help them.
I have to tell you a story. I had a radio station. I used to own radio stations, and I was up in Vermont, and I had a station up at Killington, Vermont, and I had a great girlfriend, and her maiden name was Graziano. So Teresa Graziano, and her grandmother had all the recipes. And when Teresa was a little girl growing up, she learned how to cook, and her grandmother would teach her all the little tricks. And so when we were my first Christmas up there, I have 5 kids, and Teresa came up with an idea. She says, because they were all like to stay home at Christmas Day. So the Saturday before Christmas, Teresa sent out an invitation to each one of the kids, and it was called Pasta with Papa. And so she invited all the kids up, my kids, and she had 2 daughters of her own. And she put on a big spread, and she put on a big pasta feed. And she had, like you did, we had salad, of course, and soup, and then the appetizer, and then the main course. And so all the kids came. Well, they thought they died and went to heaven, because Teresa had all her grandmother's recipes, and well, she started 4 days early, just doing the sauce. She would make this big pot of sauce, and she'd leave it on the stove.
Yeah.
And the longer it stewed, and she'd keep it on real low for 2 or 3 days, and she said it was just unbelievable good. And so we had a family tradition for a while, which was the weekend before Christmas was Pasta with Papa. And so
Wow.
I was telling my wife when I was that you're going to be on today, and I said I'm going to have to talk to her, because maybe this Christmas, if we have, whenever it is, because Christmas I think is on a Wednesday, so maybe the Saturday before, I'll have to talk to her and have her put on a spread for the kids, because we have all the kids come up. Because 2 of them are in New Hampshire, one's in Rhode Island, another one's down in Situate, Mass, another one's in Framingham. So to get them all at one place at the same
It's
time.
difficult,
Yeah,
right?
we got to pick the right day to get them to come. And when we send out the invitation, we tell them attendance is mandatory.
Right.
No RSVP. Be there. If you want your Christmas, I always tell the kids, I have a sign on the refrigerator, and it says, "Money isn't everything, but it sure keeps the kids in touch."
There you go. And this is very important because ever since we married and
Yeah.
had the kids, and they got
Yeah.
they were with us obviously until they got married, but we still keep we get together.
Yeah.
Like it was every Sunday.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
Sunday, they would come to Mama
Yeah.
and Papa
Yeah.
and Daddy, and I would cook a big meal
yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Even after they got married. I remember, I have a son that lives in Charlton.
Yeah.
He was the first one that got married, but
Yeah.
he's the middle child. And after he got married, he came back from a honeymoon. He was, he asked me. He was living next door, like I
Yeah.
told you before, in Marlborough. And he would ask me, Mom, what we have for dinner?
Yeah.
Meaning Sunday. So I said, this, and this, First Sunday, okay. Second Sunday, again. Third Sunday,
Yeah.
again. And then I was like, wait a minute, I thought you got married.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he was like, Mom, it's tradition.
Yeah.
So, the kids like to keep the tradition
Oh,
going.
yeah.
And so we get together for, the
Yeah.
obvious Christmas Eve. We get together for Christmas. We get together for New Year's.
Oh, it's very important.
We get together for birthdays.
Yeah.
We get together for anniversaries all the time.
Yeah. Well, I
You
got
know?
to tell you a story. When my mother was dying, she died in 1995. There's four of us. I'm the oldest of the four kids. And we're all over the place. My sister, youngest one, my sister lives in Virginia. My other brother lives up in Maine. And so another one is in Georgia. And there's me. And my mother was dying, and she said to me, you know what my big fear is? I said, what, Mom? She said that when I die, the last time you guys will see each other is at the funeral. I said, Mom, I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to promise you that after you die, at least once every year, we'll all get together.
Yes.
Well, this weekend, my sister's coming up. It's her 50th class reunion. She went to school in Malden at the Catholic high school. So they're having a reunion. It's her 50th. So she's coming up. And so my brothers and myself, we're all getting together in Malden. We're all going to meet. We're going home this weekend. And we'll spend Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday together. So it's every year. And we take turns. We
that's
move it around.
wonderful.
One year we'll go to my sister's, next year we'll go to my brother's, but we get together at least once a year, and it's great, and it's
It is, when
because it's so important that families.
nowadays everybody's so busy, and when we get together, like my kids,
Yeah.
they all talk to each other. They all exchange ideas.
When my
they
kids are
all
together,
come down
it's like a circus. When
Yeah.
my kids are all home, of course they make fun of me. Remember when he did this?
Yeah.
Remember when he made you do that? Remember? And they tell me these old war stories of when they were growing up.
Yeah.
And of course, I grew up like my parents. We were disciplined. We had rules.
Yeah.
So my kids grew up the same way. So now they make fun of me, see, and it's great when they're all together. But one of the great stories, we got a few minutes left. My son Jonathan called me a couple of weeks ago. He's got two kids. And he called me up about a month ago and he says, Dad, I got to tell you a story. I said, okay. He said, I vowed that when I had my own kids, I would never treat them the way you treated us. He said, well, I got to tell you a secret. He said, the other night, my son Jack, he's 14, he said, he's the smartest kid that you'd ever meet in your life. He knows everything. And he proceeded to stand up and tell me that how it was going to be. And I looked at him, and I ran his little backside upstairs to his bedroom so fast, he didn't know what hit him. I said, you get up those stairs. And he said, I sat on the couch, I looked at my wife, and I said, oh, my God, I just did what my father did to me.
Yeah.
And he said, but I had to call and tell you, you were right once again.
Again,
And we
yes.
laughed, and I started to laugh. But it was great. Well, let me tell you, Lina, it was delightful having you on. And
Thank
I'm
you.
thrilled that you came by. And so folks can look you up on Facebook. And if they're looking to have some
the
fun.
name of my company is Lina's Kitchen.
Lina's Kitchen.
Lina's Kitchen. So
Lina's
I'm
Kitchen.
under Lina's Kitchen.
Yep.
Italian catering and cooking classes.
Good.
So
That's terrific.
if they want to get in touch with me, they can call me
Good.
and we can chat, and you
Good.
know, I'll try to help them out the best I can.
I'm sure you will. Well, there you are, folks. You've heard Lina. Give her a call. And that's another Conversations With. And I'm Dick Vaughn. Thanks for watching.